brought in the final authority.
Every video has either Sammy or Sadie in it, and now we're having Stella in it.
Do you want to start with his question?
Yes, I do. Start with his.
No, really, you can.
No, I do. Start with his question.
Okay, go ahead.
Well,
Are you talking about kitty size?
well, I'm talking about the $3 size.
Right.
You know, I get, and I have, what I've done is I check my area. I ask people, I'm like, what about one size, $5? And the majority of people are really for that. But then you get people that kind of give me feedback on, well, if I had 2 3-year-olds, I would want a small cup for the 3-year-olds.
Okay, my answer is get one and let them split it. Here's the deal. As soon as you introduce a kitty size or whatever you call it, let's say your ice cream is $5 and the kitty size is $2.50, whatever? $3?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, 99% of the women who walk up to the counter are going to get the smaller size.
Yeah.
Myself too.
They're going to get the smaller size. Then you're going to get people who share that size. It just doesn't make any sense. The day I opened, I didn't know anything. I sat right back in the back there at this same class called Lunch with the President, and I went home and I opened the store. And the first day, you cut me off whenever you want.
No, go ahead.
And the first day, I had $2, $3, and $5. Small, medium, and large. And one day, the next day, I looked at them and I took the $2 and I threw it away. 2 days later, I looked, because everyone's going to buy the smaller one. They don't know you make the world's best ice cream. You do, but they don't know that. You can have a sign, we make the world's, but everybody says that. We know we do. They don't know that yet. So they're going to get the small size. It's human nature. Christi just reinforced that. Going to get the small size. So 2 days later, I looked at my 2 sizes, 3 and 5, and what did I do? I took the $3, threw it away. One size, and that's how it went for 9 years. One size, no tax, it's included, and no mixing flavors, no samples, and no toppings. Because maybe I'm a throwback, but I think I'm going to break new ground. I'm going to sell the world's best ice cream at a fair price for everybody. And you know what? They're going to come to your place. They came to my... We were open 4 hours a night, no daytime hours. Only 6 to 10 at night. That's it. And we saw an average of 200, 250 people a night.
I was in at Tampa at St. Pete last night.
The Revolution?
Yeah, and there's this, I don't know, but there was an ice cream shop, and all day, I watched it all day. There wasn't a lot going on. Last night, man, they had a line wrapped around that building 2 or 3 times.
That's how they're going to talk about your place.
And because of it was nighttime, you know,
Sure. You know, where I'm opening in Daytona Beach, 1/2 block away, it's maybe from here to Steve's front door, half a block away, is something called The Cow. They've been there 46 years selling ice cream on A1A, and they get tons of people. And when I went to the city council at City Hall to talk about my venture, they said, where are you going to open? And I said, well, the old 7-Eleven there on A1A. Well, you know, The Cow is a half a block away. I said, I don't care. And their jaws dropped. 46 years they've been there. And here am I opening up a half a block away. I don't care. I don't care. They're going to care, but I don't care. Well, there's plenty for me. Okay. Any questions about anything we did? You have one, right? Quick, think of one.
Well, no, I had the questions that I had. We talked about flavors, how many we should open with.
How many flavors?
Yeah, to start with. I mean, this is a
What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
peanut butter.
Don't start with that. If you're starting out, I would start with more universal.
Chocolate, strawberry, vanilla.
I was gonna ask, would you give me a guess for like 6 flavors, at a minimum of 6 that I should
Okay,
start
get your
with?
pen out.
I got it.
Chocolate velvet. Do you have my book?
Yes.
Okay, chocolate velvet. This is a good one, the one we just made, raspberry chunk. That's a good one. I'm a big fan of mint chocolate chip. I think
That's my favorite.
Yeah, I think mint chocolate chip is one to start with. Now, if you start with anything but my coconut, you're right. You're missing the boat, right?
Coconut.
Totally
It was
coconut.
Amazing.
It's in the book. It's the world's best ice cream, regardless of flavor. Totally coconut, right? How many you got?
4.
Okay, is chocolate velvet one of them?
Yes.
Okay. When you sell that chocolate velvet, you want stuff that people are going to, well, just look in the book. Those are 20 recipes, 22 in the book,
Right.
and those are winners. You can blindly pick 8 from there. They're all there. I'm not looking to sell you a book.
No, I
but-
understand. We have the book.
Oh, you have it?
We have the book.
Have you read it?
Yes.
Well,
Several times over. But reading it from the book and getting it in this setting is totally different. If we, not knowing whether we're going to try to open with 20 some odd to begin with, or we start with 8, 10, 12, do we start with
well,
8 of
Steve,
this?
you can answer. I would
Yeah,
start
I'm
with 10.
going to give you a whole different answer because this is going out to thousands of people in the world who don't yet have Jeff's book. And the question is, how many flavors and what flavors? I would say 12 flavors because dipping cabinets come in 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 16. So I would go with 12 flavors. I don't want 16. It's too much. I want 12 where I'm going to put in a flavor of the week, which is going to be run by Christi's group, Social Media. As they're going to create buzz to come into the store. I base that on, I may be chairman of the board of the company. I'm a salesman, and my tax return says salesman. I'm extremely proud of it. And what a salesman always wants is I sell you something and you like me. I sell you a car and you like me. You're going to come back and buy a car. You bought it first because it was a Toyota. Now you buy it because of Steve Thompson. I want you to come back to my store. You like my ice cream. I want to give you a reason to come back. Flavor of the week. I would, if you're out there in the world and you don't have Jeff's book and you don't know what we're talking about, different flavors, I would Google what are the top 20 flavors that people eat.
Well,
let me finish. Let me finish. I would start with the top 20 flavors because basically everything in Jeff's book is going to be an exotic, wonderful variation of those top 20. If you're making chocolate, I don't know what chocolate velvet is unless I look it up, but I know it's chocolate, and I know it's the number 2 flavor selling. Number 1, vanilla, of course. And if you want to call it Madagascar vanilla bean vanilla, or if you want to call it Parisienne vanilla, that's fine. It's still vanilla. And then there's chocolate. And then you take a strawberry base flavor, whatever Jeff does with it, and make it a strawberry flavor. You've got to give people, to begin with, a basis of things that they know. You've got to give them flavors that they know. And there's at least 12 of them that are going to come right in line, and everyone's going to fall into one of them, no matter what you call it, no matter how you jazz it up. I mean, sure, making mint chocolate chip with an all-natural mint extract and Ghirardelli chocolate chips is going to make it worlds apart from everyone else. But your question is, what flavors do I offer? Mint chip. That's simple.
Vanilla, chocolate.
Well,
You have to have those.
No,
Yeah,
I
you
don't.
do.
I don't think so.
And see, that's where I would come in to play differently. So if I'm going to his store and I see raspberry chunk, chocolate velvet, whatever else you have out there, totally, coconut. One, I don't like coconut. I'll still eat it. I'm the person that eats anything. I don't care what it is. I'll eat it. But I'm going to question it. What's in the chocolate velvet? What's in your raspberry chunk? Now he's taking up time trying to answer my questions of what's in this ice cream. If I see a flavor that says chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, I know it's chocolate. I know it's strawberry. I know it's vanilla. You have to always have to have a safe alternative.
I don't subscribe to that.
You didn't start off with chocolate velvet, and you didn't start off with the other one. You evolved into that, I'm sure.
Well, actually,
the day
if you
one
look
that
at
you
the book, those are my original recipes. That's what I started with.
with day one.
What?
With day one, you had.
Yeah, I didn't
these
know what
names?
else to do. Those are the ones I get. Day one was coconut.
Okay.
That's all I had.
You're also dealing with a sophisticated group of elderly
Well, but
people.
here's the thinking. Here's where my thinking goes. If people come into your ice cream store, they're going to have ice cream. They're not going to not have ice cream. Even if you don't have vanilla or chocolate or strawberry, They're going to have ice cream. And what I want is I want them to experience something that the cow a half a block away doesn't have. They don't make their own ice cream. I can do whatever I want. I don't have vanilla. You can't buy vanilla in my store because it's not going to be a reputation maker. It'll be the best vanilla ever, but it's not something people are going to leave with saying, wow, you got to taste his vanilla. I've never heard that. I've never heard anybody say, oh, his Mystic's vanilla is the best. Nobody's going to say that. But they will say, you got to try his maple walnut. It's unbelievable. You got to try his vanilla caramel praline. Whoa, it's to beat the band. And they make something called chocolate velvet, and I got to tell you, chocolate velvet, you make it once, you'll have to make it for the rest of your life. And the coconut. Here's a guy over there who didn't like coconut. He tasted it and he said, this is the best, forget the flavor, it's the best ice cream I ever tasted. That's what I want. I want reputation makers because, oh, that was great chocolate. Nobody's going to spread the word about that. But they'll spread the word about your terrific maple walnut praline ice cream.
I have two large customers on the West Coast, both very successful, Molly Moon and, I can't remember the other one, Salt and Straw. Salt and Straw has a reputation of making very strange, exotic flavors, and they do very well. Molly Moon does excellent, very, very good basic flavors, but the names have been jazzed up. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but you know at least what it is. And the question was not, coming up with, the exotic names and concoctions will come along, but his question was, how many flavors and what do I have? So everything you're talking about is I'm not wrong.
No, you bring up a good point.
You're not wrong either. Everything is a variation of a strawberry or a chocolate or a coconut.
Well, everything's vanilla.
You can call it whatever you want, but I'm just saying that you look at what the sales are across the country of what are the top flavors. Yes?
So I went around we got several ice cream, I'm down east now, but I'm moving up to the mountains where I'm from. And so I asked those guys down there, and they don't mind giving me information. And so the biggest seller of, he runs a little dairy that he does the dairy mixes. He says that strawberry, you got to have the first three basics, starters. That's what and then all my other guys, Ben's and all of them, they say your three starters. It must be them because
well, then that's what you're going to do. I just don't go that way.
But I'm saying I get what when the DVDs I got was so helpful to what you're saying to that. But starting out, I think learning to make it for me, I better stick for myself. I better stick with those first three basics.
It's not hard to make. Look what we did. We put two things in a machine and we have raspberry ice cream. It's very simple. You'll get the hang of that. But Steve has a good point, and Christi made a good point. My boards, I don't have the electronic flavor boards. I print them up on the computer. And my boards have the flavor of the ice cream and then continuing on, what's in it.
Okay.
Because she's right. I don't want to spend all day explaining all these ice creams. So it has the flavor and then what's in it. It's written cleverly. It's not boom, 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 boom. It's written with a comic twist or something, but they don't have to ask then. It's on the board. And where possible, you asked about the flavors, right? Where possible, I cut out from the boxes of candies and cookies, I cut their logo out. Like it says Milky Way right there and Payday right there. I cut that out. And that's what I put on the board. Because that's instant recognition. They don't have to ask, well, what's in Milky Way? Come on, Milky Way. But to the other ones, yes, I put the flavor and then I put what's in it. So they're both right, but I still won't have vanilla, chocolate, or strawberry.
She's eating the floor.
I wonder why he don't do that.
Well, because they do it next door or down the road. I just don't want. I want people who leave my place. You got to see the flavors they got. I mean, they didn't even have vanilla, but I did get vanilla caramel praline, and wow, that's what I want.
A lot of times when I'm going through Tampa International, I'll eat at the Hard Rock Cafe. And it's funny because I read the menu and I have to say to the hostess, which one of these is the chicken salad sandwich? Because it's got so many different names to it that you just say, well, which one's the chicken salad?
Yes, Lisa.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so my question is, okay, so you have experience, I don't know if you have experience working at an ice cream shop, but what do your, like, I'm sure you started out with a plan for your freezers and how you put your ice cream out, and then probably said, that's not working, this is going to work better. Can you tell me, like, advice on how to organize?
Well, Steve is really the expert here, and what he taught me is that there are 4 places in any of your chest freezers that are colder than the other places. And that's where to put the ice creams that are softest. In my case, I use adult flavors with liquor in them, and they go in the corners. As you work your way up to the middle top, that's the least cold part of the freezer, right, Steve?
That's right.
So generally it's not going to matter because you're going to be so busy that they'll be opening and closing. No, I'm serious. They'll be opening and closing all night or all day long. So, but at night, when you leave, those are the places that my staff knows to keep the not soupy, the harder to freeze ones.
The ones with more sugar.
The ones with more sugar, correct. And they go in the corners. And then as you work up, up, until finally, the ice creams that are a piece of cake go right up front in the middle of each freezer. Yes, sir.
Is there a difference in how you store or freeze Italian ice as to ice cream? Can they both go inside the chest freezer?
No. You have to freeze Italian ice at about 10 to 15.
You serve it at 15, 16.
Right, but you have to scoop it.
That is scooping. That's what I mean by serving.
So
but
15,
you store it at 0 to 10 below.
Until you're going to use it.
Until you're going to use it.
Yeah, and ice cream is 10 below.
No, ice cream is 0 to 5 in my store. So I serve it.
We do it to 10 below. Anything at if I give you a good example.
Well, one second. You do it at 10 below to put it in the back room frozen.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. I'm talking about inventory.
Okay.
Haagen-Dazs, I asked the head professor, Dr. Robert Roberts at Penn State about this because I helped put Haagen-Dazs in business, as I've mentioned before. And their ice cream, if you read the ingredient list, it's milk, cream, sugar, skim milk powder, and then the flavor they're making. And I went to Dr. Roberts and I said, do they have some trick of the law? I don't see any guar gum or carrageenan or, God forbid, polysorbate 80 in their ice creams as stabilizers and emulsifiers. It's just milk, cream, sugar, skim milk. And he said, no, that's true. The trick is how they're serving it. And Jeff falls into this too. Haagen-Dazs is only sold in pints. So they make it in the machines. They don't use mine anymore. We're not big enough for them. They make it, they put it into a 80 below zero tunnel where it freezes it down rock solid, probably down to about 40, 50 below. It's then put into trucks and shipped to your supermarket. The trucks are down at 10 or 20 below. It's put into the display case at the supermarket, usually about 0 to 10 below, usually 10 below, because they want you to be able to drive it home in this Florida heat. You bring it home, and you put it into your 0-degree freezer, and then when you want to eat it, if you're clever, you take it out an hour before dinner and you move it up to your refrigerator so that it all tempers up to a scooping temperature. You leave ice cream out on the counter and it gets all melted around the outside and hardcore in the center, and that's why us men at a dinner party agree to go scoop the ice cream, because we're eating all that stuff around the outside and then scooping everybody else. But they don't need stabilizers, emulsifiers, or anything, because cold is the best stabilizer holder of the product of anything on earth. The colder you can go, the better it is. Those chest freezers there on a good day will go to 10 below. That's my own private hardening cabinet. That goes to 40 below Fahrenheit, 40 below zero. But I don't need it for that temperature for what I'm doing here. So if you're going to make not 2 tubs of salted caramel, but 20 tubs of salted caramel for inventory, then you want to freeze it as cold as you can, and you know it's perfectly good. And then I'm working on a new system. All my CB350 people from 2007, when we brought it out, thousands of them, are now calling up and saying, my business has gotten so big, I need another machine. I said, no, you need more chest freezers. They say, we already have got 4 and we're a 500 square foot store. These are small stores, just like yours first was. So the alternative is going to be a freezer like I build, but a 1 door. And they're going to make the ice cream, they're going to put it in there overnight, and then they're going to move it to the chest freezers that they already have, which are warmer. They might be 0, which is real close to serving temperature of 6. So you rotate your product around depending on the demand. And it's really that simple. So
Can you leave the, I use 1 gallon tubs.
Mm-hmm.
Can I leave those in the deep freeze?
yeah, you could. And the old joke of mine that you're going to hear a million times is about the lady who had a tub of bubblegum licorice in her deep freeze, 30 below 0. And it's been there 6 months. And she says, is this ice cream any good? And I said, yes, ma'am. It's as good as the day you made it because it's at 30 below 0. Cold is the best freezer that exists. Cold temperature is the best preservative there is. But the fact that it's been in there 6 months tells you something. This is a lousy flavor. Nobody wants bubblegum licorice. If it's sitting in your inventory that long, get rid of it. It's terrible. It's a horrible flavor. You ought to be turning that over every couple of days.
But what I could do, if I'm reading you right, let's take my biggest flavors, coconut, chocolate velvet. I can make an abundance of those, put it in the deep freeze, leave it there.
Yeah.
And stockpile it.
Yeah, until you need it.
Correct. And then 2 days before, put it in my chest freezers when I'm running low on it
Yeah.
to serve. Okay.
Yeah, even 1 day before.
Okay.
And this business is also very weather dependent. If you see that today is Friday and they're predicting beautiful, beautiful weather for the weekend, you know you're going to go through 3, 4, 5 tubs of that chocolate velvet. So you start moving them from the super cold over to not as cold so that they can start the warm-up process. If all of a sudden, and you watch it every day, you get up in the morning, have your tea, have your coffee, and turn on and see what the weather, not the weather, but so much the temperatures and, are there any fronts moving in? If it's going to be beautiful weather, move more ice cream. If there's going to be potential storm, leave it in the freezer, the cold freezer.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Can you take it out of the colder, what's the temperature on that? The coldest?
Well, we're doing 10 below the way you do
No,
it.
the other ones.
30 below is
how
average.
much?
30 below.
Okay, can you take it from that, right from that, and temper it on the counter? And then how long would that be to serve it?
No, on the counter, it's all going to melt around the
On
outside because the core is 30 below. But I can take it from 30 below and put it in my serving cabinet
The night before?
the night before, and it all warms up together.
Okay.
Yes, right here.
How many servings would that tub make?
Well, 10 per gallon.
10 per gallon?
Yeah, 10,
Well-
12-ounce servings per gallon.
12-ounce servings.
10, 12-ounce servings.
Okay. Or it's 100 ounces per gallon.
Okay.
Let's say this is
3.
gallons, so 128 times 3 divided by, I know.
No,
but
just
that's
do
talking
it
purposes.
36. That's all.
So, yeah,
30 rather.
divided by the size of your scoop.
That'll serve 30 customers.
Okay.
Yes.
Would you, if you're kind of tight on money, is it okay to start with your chest freezers and try to work your way?
Well, I went
yes.
10 years with them.
Hell yes.
I have
Yeah.
I mean, I'm running I've got a small place.
not start with it. They're perfect.
Christy, tell me how you put people in
The
business.
chest freezer I bought day one in Sam's Club was $129, and it's still being used. They're perfect.
Good.
That's the big thing that I get too when I do a lot of talking with customers is, well, I need a blast freezer. And no, you don't. You don't need a blast freezer. That's just to bring it down faster. So chest freezers work just as fine, and just like Jeff said, he had it for 10 years with that store. Now, if obviously you're getting into huge and wholesaling, you're going to have 25 of those. So blast freezer is what you're going to need, but you need two. One for your freezing and then one for your tempering, which is exactly what Jeff has. So chest freezers will work just fine for a long time. There's no need to go buy the biggest, fanciest blast freezer or big freezer, walk-in freezer. Chest freezers are good enough.
Yes.
You said you make the blast freezers?
The blast freezers, no, I don't.
Oh, okay.
The only one on the market right now that's USA made is Kelvinator. That's the only brand. Masterbuilt was another company. They went bankrupt, and it was no surprise to me. They just had too many executives and not enough people to answer everyday questions.
And if you can find, Sears went out, they went under. If you can find a Sears that's almost out or still alive, those big ones over there are $500, and they're a great deal.
Yeah. Yes.
Can you speak to the pros and cons of serve yourself and charge by weight, and how did the weights compare? Italian ice, gelato, soft serve?
Two different questions?
Kind of under the same umbrella.
Okay, I'll let Christi handle the Italian ice, but the serve yourself, not in a million years, especially with the COVID virus. Because, what are we doing? And when COVID is all said and done and gone, which we hope it will be, there's going to be residue left from it. And the residue is we are always going to go around and wash our hands when we come home from being out somewhere. This is the first thing we're going to do. We're going to carry hand sanitizer. And we're never going to see the flu again because we're going to be so much more careful. Having some snot-nosed, bratty kid in front of me piling on all this junk. Well, it comes from experience because when I was a snot-nosed, bratty
you worked
kid,
there?
we had milkmaid.
I feel like a ping pong.
We had a milkmaid in a store in New Rochelle, and it was one price, and you could put on all the toppings you want, and it was one price. And as a kid, you just pile everything on. And then it comes back, this melting mess, get into Dad's car and melt it all over his genuine simulated plastic Ford seats. I would never do self-serve. The other thing is Wall Street Journal wrote about it, and they said, because that was the thing with frozen yogurt, and Wall Street Journal said that the average sale when everybody else was at $3, the average sale out of a yogurt store where you added more toppings, or let you add your own toppings, was about $9 because they weighed it at the end. And you go, well, wait a minute, I didn't mean to spend $6 on ice cream for little Johnny. So it's a bad idea all around. Don't take the sanitary aspect of your store away from your employees. Christi can answer your question about Italian ice.
What was the question?
Well, he was asking, so on the serve yourself, on the weight of a gelato, of a homemade ice cream, super premium, and Italian ice, they're all going to weigh differently. So, and if you're going to do a serve yourself, I'm assuming you're going to have toppings, yes?
This is a for instance, but yes.
Okay, so now you're going to be in the toppings business. We're in the ice cream business, not toppings. So that's exactly what's going to happen. He's going to be standing there, these kids are going to be piling it all on top of your creation that you just made. You made the most beautiful praline, pecan, walnut ice cream ever, whatever crazy flavor you came up with. And now you have these kids putting M&Ms, gummy worms, cookie crumbs. That's altering your flavor, right? So your Italian ice is sugar, water, and fruit. You're freezing it. And your gelato is chocolate. Or your homemade ice cream is got walnuts or brownies in it. So you have a walnut brownie ice cream. Someone's going to go pay for that gelato. It's going to weigh more because it's thicker. And they're going to see, this is just chocolate. It's just chocolate gelato. Why am I paying so much for that? Now you're going to have your walnut that you have with your brownies in it, and it's not going to weigh as much because it's a homemade ice cream and it's a lot more air content, right? So now they're going to be paying less for the homemade than they would be the gelato. But you have more money because of your brownies and your walnut and the homemade than you do your gelato. So I wouldn't do it by weight. I'd do it by product. Yes? No?
Oh, I'm trying to memorize that sentence because that's perfect. We're in the ice cream business. We're not in the toppings business. I got to remember that. That is great.
So
We're in the ice cream business. We're not in the toppings business.
Do you ever put any chocolate, like M&Ms, after you made your M&Ms? Like
Oh, that's a good point. Yes, the girls who work behind my counter, they have little 1-quart containers, and some of them have chocolate chips, some M&Ms, some Snicker pieces, and when we're serving that particular ice cream, M&M ice cream, yeah, they'll take a spoon, throw a few M&Ms on top. It won't affect anything, it's just a visual. And the cost is ridiculous, so who cares? And the one that they use most often are little chips. They take a spoonful of mini chips, put it on, and then we hand it. It doesn't matter, but if it's got it in the ice cream, they're allowed to do it. But you know what happens? What happens? The next guy who's getting coconut says, "Can I have some M&Ms on mine too?"
Oh, boy.
And you have to say no. Well, why not? You gave it to her. And then it's a whole can of worms. Great expression. We're in the ice cream business. And you know, the way you all ate the ice cream so far today, all the ice cream, that's how I want it to be. I want you to experience the ice cream. That's just what you did. You didn't get clouded by sprinkles on top or hot fudge. You ate the ice cream. And therefore you can enjoy it. You can give good feedback. You can assess how you liked it. That's enough of that.
Jeff, last night I brought home, because we had guests, some delicious vanilla ice cream that I made, just plain simple vanilla. And we also got a bottle from a customer of Vermont maple syrup. So I poured some maple syrup on, and about halfway through the container of the ice cream, I realized I'm not eating ice cream. I'm using it as a carrier for the maple syrup.
Right.
I wasn't even enjoying the ice cream. I might as well have just taken the bottle of maple syrup and just downed it.
Well, that's what Christi said. When you go to those yogurt places or anything, why bother putting the ice cream in there?
Yeah.
All you want, you should go right to the end and get Snickers and M&Ms and Oreos and hot fudge and eat that.
That would be my kid. She's the one that likes to go to racetrack because they have them in the walls, and then she gets like that much ice cream and then 5 pounds of everything else.
And it's $8.
Yeah.
I got 2 more questions. If you don't
How
mind.
many?
2 so far. One is, have you experienced any shortages as a result of being able to get product? 0. All right.
Next.
The next question would be, when you're trying to do your layout, where you've got people coming in, your cash registers, serving, and the other, is there some type of a diagram or something that you would use that would be a good
CS.
Wow. Jeff's doing it right now for his store.
Use the CS principle.
CS?
Yeah, common sense.
Okay.
Common sense. Would you put the cash register by the bathroom? No. Would you put the kitchen by the back room? No. It's just common sense. You're going to have a counter, right, where you serve from.
Yeah.
Behind the counter in my stores has always been making ice cream, the kitchen, because you never make ice cream while customers are there, but yet you want customers to see that, wow, they make the ice cream right there. Now, the cow can't do that. They don't make their own ice cream. But I can, and I want people to see it. Wow, this is homemade? Yeah, we make it right here while they're online. So you have the line, and you have the counter, and behind it you have your stainless steel tables where the girls prepare the ice cream, and behind it you have your 3-bay sink. You need 3 pieces of equipment in there. You need a 3-bay sink, a hand sink, and a mop sink.
Okay.
You must have that. And in addition, you need your batch freezer. And then 2 stainless steel tables, you build a counter, you're ready to roll.
I have, without a doubt, the most dumbass idea of how to design a store, because I used to do it when I laid out this building, when I laid out houses that we bought and over the years and where to put furniture. You could go out and hire an architect, and you might still need one, but you can call us, Emery Thompson, as far as what the law is, and we can give you a general idea about those sinks and all. But I go to Lowe's or Home Depot and I buy a bunch of 2x4s, and I bring them back to the store, and I take the measurements of this cabinet and this counter, and I lay out 2x4s on the floor, and I measure them so that they're correct, and then I step back and look and say, oh, no, there isn't room for two people to pass through here because of the placement of those cabinets and this counter. And so then I moved my 2x4s back a little bit. And then because I've gotten the literature on the different machines, equipment, counters and storage and all that right off the internet. So I can see, oh, this cabinet is 28 inches deep, and I need this much from. So you can lay it out visually and look at it around the store and say, okay, that works. And then you draw it out and you hand it to the architect, and that just saved you at least them doing all the mathematics of figuring it out, and you're doing it from a practical standpoint. Can two people really pass in the night without crashing into each other? Because they're carrying ice cream, and it's going to be uncomfortable.
That's a good way to do it. I would just add one thing. I always add one thing.
Please do.
The last thing he said was a bad word. Architect. You don't need an architect. You don't need an architect.
No, you don't. They don't know
And you're
anything.
going to pay $1,200 for somebody to get a piece of graph paper and draw the dimensions of your store with where the sink goes. You don't need that. And City Hall will accept your diagram. I just did it. Architect, forget about it. That's where ego comes in. Have some faith in yourself. You can do it. And you know what? If it's not exact, change it.
You can always be like the McDonald's brothers, go to a tennis court with some chalk, draw your store out there.
That was a good idea. Yes.
Just got a question
Yeah, I know,
about the
right?
adult flavors, as far as where you see that going, if that's something worth doing.
What, the adult flavor?
The adult flavors. And
Definitely.
That's all. Yeah.
That saves mom's sanity. So, Superman for the kid, let mom have the wine sorbet, okay? You'll win every time. Just like Jeff's store.
Well,
To serve it, do you check ID? The adult
Of
flavor?
course.
Well, then
Oh.
you have to have a liquor license.
no,
right?
you don't need a liquor license, but it says right on our menu boards, the ones that are the adult flavors, over 21. And they card them. The girls will card them. They wouldn't card this guy, but they'll certainly card this girl. It's because it's over 21.
Now, see, I would card this guy because we go back to our friends and say, can you believe it? That damn store carded me. What are
Yeah.
they, nuts?
And the one who believes it is the guy who bought shares in.
Did you run into a lot of headache with that, though? Is there a lot that get you jammed up in any way? with adult flavors?
Nothing.
No, but you're solving one of your big problems, two of your big problems. The liquor ice cream is obviously going to cost you more because of the alcohol. And the liquor ice cream should be selling for a higher price. So by having two signboards, the regular stuff and then the adults only ice cream, you must be over 21 to buy these. You can put any price you want for it, and it's going to be higher because, of course, I expect to pay more for it. It's got real Crucian rum in it. So
No.
it works. Well, not Crucian rum. What are you?
No.
You're all
No.
one type.
Your ice cream is one price because you're going to make more on your vanilla than you will on your Bailey's
You
ice
said
cream.
that so hastily.
So just average it all out. I think you're alienating people. Oh, your ice cream is $5, but this is $6.50?
Now that applied to where you were, and specifically, and we're not going to talk about that. But what about your new
Beverly
store?
Hills, you're
Same
going to charge
thing, one
$8.
price.
Italian ice and ice cream?
No, I don't sell Italian ice. I thought he was talking about adult flavors.
Yeah.
Oh, the same price.
Okay. That's
Because
But
course
your- but your
we discovered
clientele's
how much it
different.
costs us, right? Well, we priced out a Bailey's or an adult flavor, and then we priced out coconut. And how much was the difference? Nothing. There was no difference.
But
So-
your market of people is completely different than
I'm at the beach.
all of these people.
No, I'm at the beach.
Not in the villages you weren't.
I know, but I am now. One
You're not
price.
opened yet.
One price.
Well,
One price.
If you were to go to Disney, or you were to go downtown Orlando, or if you were to go to Beverly Hills, California, you're going to expect to pay more because it has alcohol.
Maybe more
Yeah.
across the board. But I won't have two different prices. I won't charge more for an ice cream that is reportedly more costly to make. I won't do that. I don't believe in that.
I'm going to side with Christi on this one because if you're telling me that the adults only ice cream costs the same as the regular, I'm thinking you're
Yeah.
using you're calling
Yeah.
it
The bottom
Bailey's,
barrel.
and you're actually using Bally's.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because when you let's take Amaretto. Amaretto de Serrano. You heard of that, right? It's the premier Amaretto brand. A bottle of that is $32.
Yeah.
And when you mix that with the cream, you're wasting it. It's silly. So I research all the off brands till I find one that I like the flavor of and the taste of, and it's cheaper.
Okay.
Yes, Bailey's, a bottle of Bailey's is $32. I use St. Brennan's.
He uses Bally's.
And the St. Brennan's is $20.
All right, so that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, and you're the one that always preaches you use Snickers, not Schmickers.
But you're mixing liquor with ice cream. Okay, well, you know what? You're right. I don't make $1 million selling ice cream, and I'm wrong.
I'll tell you what, we're going to take one more question, then we're going to break for lunch. Yes. 2 more questions. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, this is actually a combo. One, because I hear everyone speaking about as if they're doing a brick and mortar storefronts. What is your thoughts on trailers? And my other question was, did you say that there are no needs for a liquor license if you're doing adult
Correct.
flavors? So that's the two.
Okay. To answer his, it depends on the state you're in about the liquor license. So if you're going to ask, and let's say you're here in Florida and you're in Miami and you're going to deal with the health inspector in Miami, and there's another city called Tallahassee. That's where headquarters is for everything. I would call Tallahassee and ask the questions. I don't want to ask my direct health inspector, because if I don't like the answers, I might modify to my own. So I could call another city and ask the question. You do have to ask the question. New York State, the most regulated state in the world, now has some of the most lenient liquor laws. But they make no sense. You just have to take them, hear them, and know them, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You know, because they're going to say something like, you're allowed to put 3.2% by volume of weight of who knows what they're talking about. All you have to do is memorize that number, that their top limit is 3.2, and anybody comes in and asks you about it, ours is 1.0. And he has no way to check it. I'm sorry if you're listening and you're going to come shut me down, but it's the truth. How are they going to check it? They just aren't. So I wouldn't just say I can do whatever I want. I'd get the information first and then do whatever you want.
Maneuver within the guidelines.
Yeah, and the other one, the trucks, I do a lot of trucks, a whole lot of trucks, with the CB350 and the CB200. Tremendous amount of trucks. It's also a great boon because you have to get a license to run the business. And I'm not going to get into the length of this discussion, but the truck can become your license. So if the truck is licensed, it can be anywhere. It can be, on a street corner, and I can legally make ice cream. If it's in my driveway in a community and a town that does not allow businesses in your home, so what? My truck is my license. And if I happen to keep a couple of those freezers and a rack of flavors in my garage, hey, that's my business. But my truck is my license. So they can't tell me where I can't run it. My downside to trucks and everything else, I've been saying this now for 4 years, and you know what? It hasn't come to pass. So I have to rethink it. But I was telling people, I'm not sure I like trucks because I know, or we have a place over in Jupiter, Florida, on the other side of the state. They only allow trucks in for 1 weekend a month, and it's at the ball field. That's the only time you can come in. And you can't run a business by only being open for 2 days out of 30 days. But they're so hoity-toity over there that they just say, no, we're not going to allow trucks to run around. You also have businesses like Jeff's who say, what are you talking about? You're going to park that truck out in front of my store? And I pay taxes on this building, and I pay rent, and I pay this and that, and you have the right to put the truck there? Oh, I'm going to scream murder to City Hall. So I'm a little worried about where we're going with them. So I would find out what the rules and regulations are of the truck. Just don't go buy a truck. Find out about the liquor license. Find out about the rules and regs of where you can take this truck and when, and see if it's profitable. What has changed, and then I'll shut up, is we all grew up in this room, no matter what your age. You grew up hearing Ray Kroc of McDonald's saying that the key to business is location, location, location. It's not true anymore. It wasn't true for Jeff. I've seen his location of the first store, and you have to know where it is, otherwise you can't find it. And with the millennial age group, Paul and I are going to restaurants that we can't find and we never heard of, but someone texts us the address and we get there, and my gosh, the chef only has 15 tables and he changes the menu every night, and it's the best hole in the wall that we have ever found. And social media has changed that you don't have to have the glitziest location in Palm Beach or Pebble Beach. You can have an off-street location and they'll find you. Wouldn't you say that's true? You're now going into a prime location.
Yeah, but my store for 10 years was you couldn't see the road, it was so black.
Yeah, it was
from my store.
It was just
in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But they came. Yes, sir.
Open a store on a mall. Okay, with freezers, or just we have a display.
What do you mean on the mall? What is that? Oh, so that has nothing to do with chest freezers. What's your question?
Well, if it's the question vision, what is the better? Well, if it's okay to open up just with the chests, without having a display.
Oh, I'm against the the display cabinets?
Yeah.
Total waste of money. They hurt your ice cream. They don't help your ice cream. And they hurt your customer appeal. I don't want to get into this. This has to be somewhere on our videos, right?
100 times.
100 times, right?
You're absolutely wrong.
No, I'm not. Well, don't forget, we discovered that your vision of a dipping cabinet is not what they think.
I don't use a glass display. You just forget that.
Right. With
My vision is that,
and
I don't know if the camera can see it, but back there is the smallest sized dipping cabinet that comes. It's 2 flavor.
But when most people think dipping cabinets, they think of those glass things with 16 tubs in it, where it's air coming across all your open tubs, and it's messy in between the ice cream, and there's something called a sneeze guard on it. So it's a goober collector. So every night you got sneezing on there, and your ice cream is subject to it. It's terrible. And it's $6,000.
It's so modern, it's old-fashioned. The Italians make them, they cost $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, and they're just a total waste of money.
Thank you.
Just have those kind of freezers is the way I do it on the back wall. So you're here, and you're the customer, I'd like a mint chip. I turn around and I scoop from back there. If I drop a scoop, I clean it up later. They didn't see it. If I drop a scoop here, well, under COVID, I got to put new gloves on. I have to go get sanitizer. I have to clean it up. I have to spray everything down. I have to take the gloves off, put it back on. Meanwhile, my 15 customers have just walked away because they're not going to wait that long. So not glass display, but I call them the old, you'll see it, I call it the old-fashioned floppy door cabinet. We have lunch, and then we're going to make 2 more flavors.
Jeff, I did see on that, I never got on the DVD what type of cabinet you do use.
I don't use cabinets. I use those.
You just got it cut down to where it keeps it tempered to dip?
Well, here's the thing. When they open and close 150 times a night, they temper themselves.
So you just use them?
That's all.
And how do you keep them from moving, like a lot of moving around? Are they just backed in? Or do
They're not. Mine aren't on wheels.
No, he means the tubs.
The tubs. How do you stabilize the tubs to dip them? Do you have like stainless steel things?
Oh, no. We don't dip from there. We have them there behind the counter. Somebody comes up and they said, I'll have a vanilla caramel praline. The girl goes, opens it up, takes the 1-gallon container of vanilla caramel praline out, puts it on the little table right there, scoops it in front of the customer, closes it up, puts it back, and it's done. It sounds hard, it sounds arduous, it sounds time-consuming, but I got to tell you, 2 girls do 250 people a night in 4 hours. It's as easy as you could believe. And the ice cream maintains its integrity because they're in 1-gallon containers. You're not subjecting them to excess air, and they're not staying open. They're always, the top is put back. And one last thing, as opposed to the floppy top cabinets, where you can only really see the top ones. So if you have a floppy top cabinet with 4 flavors, 4 tubs that you can see, well then to get to the other ones underneath, you got to jostle them out and move them. When you have these things, you just move it aside because there's plenty of room. Just my own opinion of it.
We don't do it that way. You have a 6-flavor cabinet, you have 6 flavors. What's down below, you've got a mint chip up top, you have another mint chip down below. So at 4 in the afternoon, when you start running low, you bring it up, and then you grab another one from there and put it down below. Let's eat.
Okay.
Well, we can do more questions later.